Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to today's a special one. It's LTL Cockerel / Talking Ball. We've got Adrian with us from TTID Spurs Diehards. What's up, everybody? Adrian, I'll start with you, just because we don't see you all the time. How are you, bud?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for the invitation to the show. I mean, I'm sure it'll be an exciting one because we've got fantastic news, what I believe is fantastic news. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm really excited as well. And Jose's here, and he's got his white strip on, so you know he's going to go play footy after this. Jose, how are you, buddy?
I'm fine. You sound really distant.
Do I sound better now?
You certainly do. Yeah, a minute ago I thought you was in a goldfish bowl, or you were like a 1,000 miles. Well, you are, but I sounded more like 100,000 miles away.
There you go. Well, now it's better. Hopefully, everybody can hear me better. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but yeah, guys, today's ever going to be known as Archie Gray Day for me. I know that it's not 100% like in stone yet, but I'm excited. If you guys remember, I've been talking about this fella for a while, especially with our Leeds buddies. But we'll get more to that. We've got plenty of people in the house today. We're dual streaming, guys. This is on LTL Cockerel and Talking Ball. And I just wanted everybody to know that both of our channels now have the option for members. So if you would like to become a member for LTL, there is the link to do that. If you would like to become a member for Talking Ball, it's somewhere. It's right here. So the links are in the chat, guys. Please, if you'd like to become members, support the channel. You know, that is the best way to do so. We appreciate you, and we appreciate having you guys here. Yeah, happy Monday, first of all, guys. Happy Monday. Good afternoon to you two. How's your day been? Busy work day, Jose?
Yeah, every day's busy, but the day's over now. So
exactly. Mine's beginning, but that's okay. I'll make it. And Adrian, you're here and you're good and everything's great. You don't have the robe on today, but it's not the right time of year for the robe. We'll snap, guys. We'll just jump right into news, right? Spurs appear to have their first signing lined up. And I guess it's not our first signing. If you think about Bergvale, you think about, other players, but this is the first signing. I'm going to count this as our first signing. And as first signings go, are you excited? I'll start with you, Jose. How do you feel about this whole Archie Gray thing? You excited?
No, not really. I'm underwhelmed at the moment. It all depends on what happens going forward.
Yeah.
start of the transfer window, we have Werner, Bergvall, and Archie Gray. Do they improve our 11? Do they make us compete for the title that Postecoglou told us that we'd go for? The signings itself I can only judge and deem them fully once the transfer window closes, because it all depends, very, very much depends on who else we bring in, because the players that we've brought in at the moment, to rely on 2 18-year-olds to take you to elite level, it's difficult for me to judge at the moment. Now, you bring me in Nico Williams, Eze, and Ivan Toney, then we're cooking on gas. Then these 2 players make sense.
Right.
Yeah, you bring me in a left winger, you bring me in a centre forward, bring me in a midfielder, and then it makes sense to me. But at the moment, to bring me in 2 midfielders that are 18 years of age, they're not going to take us to the next level. They may do in years to come. They may prove to be shrewd business in years to come. But how long is years to come? How long have we been waiting so far? So, listen, in themselves, the players ain't that bad. They're not bad players, but
Right.
you've got to measure this by I'll have to measure it by the end of the transfer window. But by you asking me the question today, now I'm underwhelmed at the moment, because these 2 players do not take us to a championship tilt.
I get that. So here, Jose came in. He brought us back down to the ground a little bit. He brought me out of the clouds. I'm back on earth. But now, Adrian, I need you to get me excited again, buddy.
I'm totally opposite to Jose on this one. Seriously, I respect his opinion as always, but I'm totally opposite. I've watched this kid play in snippets. He scored a goal, 8-goal, 5th goal in a game they played. I watched him. He's had 30 games as a right back, about 10 as a in midfield, a few as a number 6, and he's even played as a number 10. He's come through the hard environment of the Championship and played like 40 odd games, right? And he's fearless. The kid's fearless, and this is what's so great about him. He will go straight into the first team squad, mark my words, and he will get game time because he is that good, and he is good. Now I can understand the questions about him being 18, but he is good enough. He's done it in that tough environment. He is good enough to go in that team. He's good enough to start, and he can play as an 8, as a 6, as an inverted fullback, and as a right back, right? And because he's shown his versatility in all those positions, plus he's done it in the Championship, in my opinion, I know he's 18, he's oven ready. He's oven ready and ready to go as far as I'm concerned. And he does improve the squad because he's technically all-round game. And Porro is a very technically gifted player, don't get me wrong. But he's just better defensively than Porro, even at his age now, even as a defensive mid. The amazing thing about this signing is I believed actually we would be going straight in for a striker because it's the most important position, then a midfielder. But I think the recruitment team have been pushed due to circumstances with Brentford. And we was always umming and ahhing. I think we were leaving the Road and the Archie Gray deal on the back burner, but we were forced to step in. I just think he's a fantastic signing.
I am 100% with you. Just the bits that I've seen of him, he just looks so. We know that that Ange likes his versatile players who can he can kind of get more than one, use out of them. And the fact that he could step into the midfield easily, but he could also play that inverted fullback role where again, stepping into the midfield a bit. I think he's going to work out. I think it's going to be great. And again, we have our Leeds friends. There's Jess, with the JSY fan channel. I have our link in here. I'm going to throw it up just because. But yeah, so we've been talking with them, and I mean, he's the player that I've just wanted for a long time. I thought he would be perfect for that role. We've got a lot of people in the house, and I'm going to get buried if I don't get to them. Of course, I've got Eltel and Adrian in the chat. Big up to both of you guys. I put a little quiz thing in here at the beginning, asking if people thought that we were going to see him mostly play in the midfield or as an inverted fullback. I'll check on that in a second. But we got Scott M in the house. Big up, Scott. Hey. He's kind of with you, I think, Jose, saying it'll depend on the other signings around him, but it is a lot of money for a guy who doesn't look ready to have much of an impact in a top team. Absolutely fair. And he's saying, but if we go out and buy the players that we actually need, this is fine. But we all know that won't happen. Big up, Scott. Big up. Glad to have you here, my man. Chris Lonnie is in the house. What's up, Chris? Saying good evening, Jose, and hail King Daniel for an excellent buy today, proving the Nupties wrong. Love it. Yeah, for sure. Audio Artisan is saying afternoon, chaps in chat. Big up, Audio. Always good to have you here, brother. And look at this. Look at this guy, Lee Smithy Smith, saying big up, crew. It's Archie Day. Yes, it is. Do you guys know? I mean, as far as I know, this hasn't been announced, and it's not like a fully done thing. Like this could still, I could probably still like have egg on my face, and this could all fall apart.
No, this is done. It's a done deal, mate.
Good.
All he's got to do is Spurs official have just got to announce it, and the wearing the shirt or whatever. But it's done. All but name it's done.
And
Fabrizio Romano.
Roden being in California 8 hours behind as part of the deal. I mean, you can use an electronic signature. There are legal ways of getting this agreement done.
Yeah, Roden apparently is signed. Roden apparently is signed.
Right. So he would have done it electronically then because he's in California.
Yeah, he's apparently signed. Yeah. He's in Vegas, isn't he? So yeah, apparently he's signed.
So Chris Peters, this afternoon. Everyone, sorry, I've been busy to see any updates. Good to hear about the new signing, but is that it? At this moment, yeah. I think this Archie Gray deal is the one that we've got going. Wayne Bonner's in the house. Wayne saying, "Sup everyone, the Gray transfer is underwhelming, albeit an expected Spurs transfer, but we need more experience and a quality striker." Yeah, Wayne, I big up, dude. I don't know if I agree that it's underwhelming, at least not to me. This kid's got a very, very bright future ahead of him, playing Premier League football at such a young age. I know that it was sort of necessity, I think, that he got as many games as he did last season, but he proved himself and he retained that spot. So, big up to Archie Gray. Very glad he's here.
Look at this. I could be talking differently in 2 weeks' time, but you're asking me the question today.
Yeah.
I could be talking totally differently in 2 weeks' time. I could be talking differently at the end of the transfer window. But when you ask me the question today on the 1st of July, these are not the signings that take you to the next level. You need other baked people to come into your squad to take you to that next level or to assist you. These youngsters will assist us along the way in the future. But to get there now and to challenge for the things that were said, the manager says, and I back the manager 100 million %. You know this already, but to put his words back into his own mouth, I want to be challenging for the title, and challenging for the title to me means that you're going to have to bring in some players of better quality and oven ready type players, and not taking punts on someone that might be absolutely brilliant for you in 3 years' time. You need the players that are going to be hitting the ground running for you now. And that's why I'm thinking to myself, if we get the other signings through the door, and I just named 3 players, it can be any 3 players, 3 decent footballers that have been around the block, know their onions, and are, can walk into top 4 teams. That's what we need to do. 3 players that can walk into top 4 teams.
Scott is agreeing with you, by the way. Says exactly, Jose. Chris Peters is saying these new signings and joinings are for the U21 team to maintain the league win again.
They'll be in the first team. They'll be in the first team, these 2.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, the signing is also a blessing in disguise in one way, because Archie Gray can fill so many holes. What it does, it gives the recruitment team far more options. I mean, now they can go, because he can fill in at virtually anywhere in midfield and on the right-hand side defensively. I mean, it means the recruitment team can go straight for the striker, which I thought would be our main priority anyway. So then it's a question of then you could go sort of striker Eze now. There's not so much urge. I mean, like, you can forget Colin Gallagher now. Thank Christ for that, right? Now he's there, right? Seriously, because you don't know where he's going to be utilised. But because of that, also, I mean, like, we could have gone out and spent 40 million on Vanderson or 45 million on Geertruida. Now we don't have to do that. So you can knock them out of the equation now, because it means now that Emerson will go. We will release him. We will get rid of him, right? So
get some money in the door there. Yeah.
In the door there for him. So now when I'm looking for my group, I'll be interested in to see if we still are in for midfielders like an Edison or Fratesi, Juventus or Edison and Atalanta, or even a Gibbs White still. Other than like, but I think you can forget Colin Gallagher now, which is good, because I don't want us to help our rivals anyway. I'm sure Jose doesn't either, right? So that's that one out the window. But the striker options, although there's a dearth of striker options now, I think we'll focus. I think we can focus on a striker and Eze now, and not worry too much about a midfielder at this stage in the transfer window. Bearing in mind, there is still a long way to go in this window. You've got till September, so there's a long way to go. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely a long way to go. And so this is a question: do you think that this affects any of our other transfers? Like, you see Conor Gallagher being a no go, and then Archie Gray taking that extra midfield spot, as well as covering for Pedro Porro. It seems like that's what you've got in mind.
Yeah, I mean, he can do that. That doesn't mean to say we won't bring a midfielder in with an Eze. I don't see us going for a sort of a right-sided defender right back now at all. It may mean now in the 80s he can do that. We may still look for that left-sided centre-back. Although I don't think all the talk at the end of last season, centre-back's a priority. Well, it isn't. We've got three. And we got three youngsters, haven't we? You've got Phillips and Dorrington, and you've got Vuskovic at the end of next season. Yeah. So even centre-back's not urgent. I don't see us... See, unless like this was opportunity and it come up quick, a great deal, right? Like, I don't see us going for like a left back again, unless the real opportunist left back come up, because you've still got Davies to go on 1 year of his contract, so we don't have to do that. But this is a very good signing to get in now, because it fills in so many holes, just in case other things. It gives the recruitment team to turn around and say, no, we ain't paying that for another position that Archie Gray can fill. If they want to strengthen there. We don't really know what Ange wants. I've been confused with the midfield situation, because it always appeared that he wanted a box-to-box midfielder, So I could see you going for a Fratesi or even a Weston McKennie at Juve, who's done well at Juventus since he had an iffy spell at Leeds. If that's what he wants, but he wouldn't be a sexy signing, would he? But again, yeah, we'll see. I still think we'll be looking for a midfielder plus Eze plus striker.
I hope you're right. 100% hope you're right. We got Ronnie in the house. By the way, Ronnie is just bigging us all up. Big up back to you, Ronnie. Hope you're well, buddy. Sorry, Adrian, I cut you off real hard there. What were you saying?
No, I just think was like those three and possibly a winger. But bear in mind, I mean, like, we've got 5 wingers, haven't we? You've got Werner, Son, you've got Kulu, you've got Johnson, and you've got Manor Solomon. And everyone's saying, oh, yeah, but Manor Solomon, they'll get rid of him. Hang on, guys, out there. Spurs fans are quick to throw players under the bus. Manor Solomon's going nowhere. First thing Manor Solomon's got to do is prove his fitness, right? After the second injury he got in his recovery. So if Manor Solomon goes anywhere, unless he had some sort of miraculous pre-season in the 6 games we've got to come up, if Manor Solomon goes, it'll probably be January, if any time. But he's not going He's
And it
not
would be, and I mean, it would be a smart a smart sale in the fact that it would like all be profit. We didn't pay a transfer fee for him, so that we'd be making some money to go back into the transfer fund. I get it. I get why people kind of, want. I don't say want him to go, but I understand it. Do I think it's the best idea? I don't know, because I do like what I've seen from the fella. Jish news in the house though, saying 10 out of 10 signing for him. He can be a backup or replacement for Poro, as well as backup for Bentancur. And I think that's what the team sees in him as well. But
do you know how exciting we look at the moment?
How exciting?
Timo Werner or Mala Solomon on the left, Son or Richarlison down the middle, Johnson or Kulusevski on the right. That's how we look at the moment. That's where we are. It's the reality of it is that's where we are. We need surgery. And I've said this, and I'm prepared to give it till the end of the transfer window. But we need surgery in certain positions, and big time surgery as well at that. And at the end of the day, these two boys that have come in, I'm not doubting their abilities, right? But they're not the open surgery that we need. The open surgery we need still needs to be done.
Agreed.
And that's where I'm looking at it. So, about hold on and that. Listen, if we can get rid of at least two of them four, I've named 6, 2 in each position, but we need to get rid of at least two of them. Two of them we need to get rid of at least, and bring in players that will improve them 6 players that I've just said. We need at least 2 players to improve them 6, and then get rid of 2. And for me, the 2 that you're going to have to get rid of, because you've already bought Werner in on loan, is you're going to have to get rid of Solomon and Richarlison. Going to have to.
Solomon won't be going anywhere at this window. January is probably the opportunity, but he won't be going anywhere until he proves his fitness, because no one will want to take him. No one will want to take him unless he's fit.
We did.
Yeah, but he was fit when we took him.
Was he?
Yeah, he
didn't play that much for Fulham.
He had a couple of goes on the right when he come on as cameos, because everyone's fit then. That's before we had the injury crisis. And then, right, he then starts away at Burnley on the left this time, and 2 assists for Scon's hat-trick when we won 5-2 away. So he showed signs. I mean, I can't judge the player on what I've seen of him. I know he kept Mudryk out of the shotgun on that side.
Yeah, he was injured. What I'm saying to Adrian, he was injured at Fulham as well. Is what I'm saying. So
he's
not
an injury-prone dude.
He was injured at Fulham as well, and that's why Fulham didn't take the option to sign him, because he was injured with them. He's been injured with us, and at the end of the day, I'm riding the crest of the wave of what Ange says. Ange says we're challenging for a title, and if Ange says we're challenging for a title, I'm going to believe Ange. But then in the back of my mind, I think to myself, with what are we challenging? Because we need to make improvements on our front 6 in order to challenge, and I can't see us doing anything if we're going to keep the same 6 that we had last season.
Well, we will bring a striker, and it looks like the favourite striker at the moment, because he's had 2 good seasons at Lille, will be. It's looking like it's Jonathan David, who's in the last year of his contract for about 25 mil. When I see him, last time I looked at it, I wasn't that impressed. I thought it was just a tap-in merchant personally. But under Ange ball, you will get a chances if you're a tap-in merchant to put the ball in the back of the net. If you can't score under Ange ball as a striker, you're not going to score at all, are you? But then it was poo-pooed that we're in for Tony or Jimenez. Bailey Gold, who does get information. I mean, the club ain't going to tell him everything, but he's going to say, "Oh, if you give me something I need to know." Well, we are interested, or we're not interested. They'll give him that sort of info. But he poo-pooed the Tony, and no one's sniffing around Tony, are they? All like Arsenal, Chelsea, all backed away, So that's a weird one, unless he really has got a bad attitude problem, or the gambling thing is still ongoing, or whatever. And Jimenez, well, he's scored a few goals similar to what Parrott's done in the Dutch league. So, and I heard we haven't totally dismissed him and his transfer. I don't see us paying. I could see us paying 25 for Tony. I could see us paying 25, 30 for Jimenez or whatever, because he's got years on his contract left. I don't see us paying 40 mil for him.
Well then,
If you queuing up for him either, do you, Jose? I don't see.
If you don't put the money down, you ain't going to get your players. We should know this by now. It's been a Tottenham trait for years and years and years. If you don't put the money down, you ain't getting the player. It's as simple as that. They don't want to these clubs. They don't want to mess about. They want to deal with people who are not going to dick them about, and
so they can get their business done. So they can strengthen themselves.
That's exactly it. No one's going to wait around for Mr. Shiny Baldhead to come along and try and mess people about. Nobody needs to do that anymore. Now, the other concerning thing to me is that we had an opportunity in the winter. We've discussed this at length, Adrian. We had an opportunity in the winter. We were the kings of FFP and PSR and everything that was written back then, and we didn't push the button and we didn't do nothing. Now I bet you that our team were relying on some of these clubs saying, "Oh, please come and take him. Please come and take him." And that ship has sailed. That ship has passed. Clubs have gone and they've got really good accountants, better accountants than what we have at Tottenham, because they found a way of getting past these issues and dealing with them. And what did we do? We just stood on the sidelines thinking, we'll wait till the 30th of June. We'll wait till the 30th of June. Some people will come with their caps calling. We'll wait till the 30th.
Yeah, I mean,
and the 30th of June is, Adrian, the 30th of June has been and gone, right? And you've got clubs. I mean, I said this on my show yesterday, and I'm not going to hide from it. Paratici got done, and so did a lot of the Juventus backroom team. They got done for doing exactly what Chelsea, Villa, Everton, and Newcastle are doing. The only thing is they cook books. The only thing with these four teams is they're doing it in plain sight. They're doing it right in front of you. And so instead of when one deal went through, the Premier League should have said, hold on, and they should have done something about it. But what the Premier League allowed to do, they allowed a series of deals to go through between the four of them, and then have said, right, we need to close this loophole off now. So when you got players that are being sold, and this is why they're all clever, these people, and Tottenham ain't, is because they've figured out a way of doing this in plain sight where you can get away with it, and now none of them have got FFP problems. Leeds haven't got FFP problems. It's come out today that regardless of the Gray situation, there's two other players that they've let go to Bournemouth that go on their books now, right? And the cash injection that they got as well from the people that went and bought them, they ain't got problems. Leicester City, but everyone's saying Leicester City have got problems. Apparently, Leicester City get rid of Dewsbury Hall, and they did another deal about some other players.
What they had, Jose, the clubs in the Premier League, they had buying problems because you're right, the deadline finished at midnight last night, which meant to be within FFP and SFP rules, a lot of clubs couldn't buy it because they was always up to their limits. This is why I think we didn't have so much competition for Archie Gray. So as the clubs that wanted to buy or might really been interested in Gray, one, they couldn't. Newcastle can't spend any money till they get rid.
Newcastle got rid of the young boy Minte for 33 million to Brighton. Then you've got Everton selling Villa Dobbin for 10 million, who's hardly laid a glove in the first team. Then you've got Villa selling Ibalgarugam to Everton for 19 million, who's hardly played. Then you've got Chelsea doing deals with some of these clubs with players that have hardly kicked the ball as well. And the whole thing stinks. But big up to these clubs, because these clubs, their people, their accountants, the people they've got working for them, figured out a way of bypassing the rules without having to say to people, come and buy our players. Forest sold two players. They sold Diakate and Oriol Mangala. Two players. They sold them to French clubs. They didn't get loads and loads of money for them, but they sold them to French clubs. And then when people come knocking for Morgan Gibbs-White, Anthony Elanga, and players like that, Forest are like, no, we don't have to sell them because we've got past the PSR.
You wouldn't, because what you wait for that deadline to pass, because now you're in a new financial year, and now you know you're okay yourself, that people can't come and cherry pick your players cheap. Well, like,
So
but
did we miss the boat on that? I guess
Leeds
is what you're saying.
No, Leeds did need to make a move. Well, missing a boat. You see, the grey area with the new SCR squad cost ratio is, and the old FFP profit sustainable rules. I'm sure people are sick of hearing it. Right? Was like in the old rules, you could lose 35 million for 3 years, 105 million. Right? When they said they were going to ratify these new rules, which I don't know if they were ratified last night, maybe they were just going to come into play last night without having to be ratified at midnight, right? So it's over 1 year, which is much better for everyone concerned because you can keep a better check on a club.
Are you talking about the UEFA rulings that they were going to go to? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, you see, there's a difference there because the UEFA FFP rules, their year ends at December.
Yeah, I know, but are you talking about their rules?
In line. Their rules, if you're in Europe, right, putting it simple, whatever your total revenue is in a year, whatever it is, you take off all the football-related income off of that, right? Not structure, women's academies, anything like that. So if you were left with 200 million, you're a rich club like Spurs, under UEFA rules, you can spend 80% of that, right? Which would be 160 mil. Under Premier League rules, it's 85%.
Yeah, but no, I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm asking is the new rules, the league, the Premier League clubs all met. There was a meeting last month, right, where they all had to vote for certain things, and one of the votes was about the rules for next year, right? Now, I thought, not that it's been publicised much everywhere now, I thought that the Premiership clubs had agreed to the new European model, the UEFA rules or whatever, to come in, and that they were going to adhere to them. But you're quite right. The problem with that is because they run from December, so from January to December, it means that this season, because the season actually starts today, the 1st of July, till the 30th of June next year, it means that we still have to go through PSR and FFP for this season because the UEFA rules don't kick in till January. So you can't start with one set of rules and leave halfway through.
All they've done is try to gradually bring in line the actual percentage you can spend after you've taken all your football related expenditure off your total revenue for a year. That's all they've done. Now, what UEFA want to do, they want to eventually bring it down to 70%, right? And so we will come in line with them, but we're not in line with them yet. The only grey area is there is supposed to have been a transition from FFP, and I hope there isn't, PSR over to this. Why not just say, no, the new rules start from last night, that's it, bang, let's go. Because when you leave grey areas, you leave room for it to be exploited, you leave room for people to complain all the time, and it just frustrates everyone, doesn't it? So Spurs weren't really in no danger of the previous rules or these rules. I mean, some people say, oh, we'd spent more money, like you said, Jose, from January onwards. We could have took advantage of what we could spend like there and then, But the problem is I'm not defending Levy in any way on this, but we all know January transfer window is only a month, and this transfer window is like 11 weeks to 12 weeks. And you get deals done. Whereas in January, if clubs out there sniff you in for their players and they're involved in Europe and domestic competitions or promotion and relegation, they're going to want to charge you 50% more than what a player's worth anyway. I mean, so January to me, if you've got on a plan, you're going to get it, and you get it for roughly the money you want. By all means, if it's more than one, by all means, go and get them. But other than that, to bring in quality players in January is hard.
It's a terrible time. It's a terrible time to bring in players.
As a fan base, we were walking around like proud cocks because we were the champions of FFP and PSR. We were going to do damage. We were going to go and plunder the clubs. That's what we were going to do.
Sell us your best players.
That was our plan. Our plan was like that. Everyone could see it from a mile away coming. That's what we wanted to do. We
can still do that. Because we'll be spending. Well, we won't be spending on money we haven't got in for next year. Next year's accounts will be the following year, won't they?
True. I don't know. He'll be back in a sec.
Next year's accounts will be published the following year, right? So we will still be spending money on last year's earnings, the percentage of what last year's earnings are after the football-related expenditure, right? Fair. Now, So FFP and PSR profit sustainability rules still come into the equation on that, right? They're still in the equation. So we'd still look. We're not going to be in no shortage. It's a question of at the time, were there players that we could get that Ange wanted? It's right being able to spend the money if there's players that Ange wanted. If we couldn't get players that Ange wanted, do you just go out and buy anyone out of desperation to appease a fan base, or do you just sit on the cash and wait till this window? I mean, you can argue it both
option
ways.
B. You would think probably option B is the smarter.
I mean, you can argue it both ways, but I mean, I don't know if Jose caught the pass.
Sorry, I had to go and do something. What did you say? Sorry.
No, I was saying that in January is fine if you want to go and get players, providing they are players that Ange wants. But it's all right I was saying it's all right being able to spend the money, right? The money's there. I'm sure the money's there to get players in. But if Ange don't want them and it's in a month in a transfer window, or he can't get the players he wants, you don't just go out and buy anyone willy-nilly. That's why you end up with a Joe Rodon, isn't it? You end up with someone like that.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about buying players in the winter. I'm talking about in the winter, we were walking around like proud cocks because we believed that we were going to be in pole position to plunder teams. Like we were talking about, listen, let's not forget, I'm going back 6 months. We were talking about Morgan Gibbs-White from Forest. We were talking about going to get Jared Brathwaite from Everton. These are the type of players that we were talking about. We were going to plunder teams.
Never an option.
We were talking about Ollie Watkins from bloody Aston Villa. I remember all the conversations. We're going to be the Kings. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. And we've done nothing because.
But we still look when we go out and buy in this window, Jose. We're still buying on last year's earnings. We're not buying on what we're going to get in this year. We're not buying on that.
I actually believe
we're buying under the rules, under our incomes for what happened last year. So it's still under FFP and profit sustainability. It's still under that. These new rules will affect teams next season. More next season. They've come in for spending. They'll affect them more next season because each of your accounts is a year's behind, as you know.
Yeah,
so I mean,
I'm fully aware. And like I said on my show yesterday, I turned around and said that with any profit and loss or over any accounting, what you would do is if you were in the red, or you're in the black, should I say, and if you're in the red, you accrue. So you make an accrual from the year before. So the year finished yesterday. So the accounts that were played with up until yesterday were the accounts up until the 30th of January 2023. Right? Now, did we spend all our money from then or not? Do we make accruals? I don't know. But if they have, we've passed them across to this financial accounting because the financial accounting finished yesterday, and that's what today begins your spending power on what closed yesterday.
The players we brought in last season were bought on the revenue from the previous season.
Correct, and I'm agreeing with you.
So this year's revenue, Spurs turned over 549 million. I reckon, like after we take off the 251.1 million in wages, 20 million pound interest, we owe 308 million outstanding on agents' fees, transfer fees, and all that. Do you amortise that over 5 years? You take a 20%.
Yeah, but you're working it out on the figures from last year being the same this year because the books closed yesterday. Right. So, but what I'm saying is that who's to say, right, that we didn't make more money from these concerts, these gigs, and from home games, and from what we may have made more, But what I'm saying is that from the season before, there could have been an accrual, an adjustment accrual, because we'd underspent. We had money left over, and then if you accrue it, you can put it into this year's finances. Same as if you overspend, you can put an accrual forward to minimize the impact going forward as well. So what I'm saying is that going forward, how much money? So last year, if we went on last year's figures, because we don't know this year's figures yet, Tottenham do, but I haven't released these figures yet, right? But last year we worked it out, or people that are out there worked it out that we had about 100, close to 130 million to spend.
Right. Okay. That sounds about right. But you're not going to advertise it to clubs out there. Do you
No.
want to go and buy players?
But they can see our book. But they can see our books, though.
Right,
They can see your
Yeah,
account.
they can, and they can do it other ways because since the stadium opened in 2019, Spurs spent 685 million on 29 players, and that averaged out at 137 million a year. So very close to the figure you just mentioned, right? And we admittedly 20 of those players were probably pants, right, out of that lot, but it showed that even with a season and a half of COVID, which have only taken off, we're earning roughly anything from 110 to 120 pound a year on gate receipts for home, right? So we could have lost like 160 million or something, because remember the club borrowed about 180 odd million off the government, but they paid it back, and so I would expect that we've got now. If we spent this on Gray, it all depends. Is another thing. Brentford couldn't cough up the money. They might have got a deal struck if they could have agreed a payment structure, which they couldn't.
What was the Brentford deal? And I mean, we don't know, but the word and the rumor is the Brentford deal rumored to be about 40 million.
Yeah, but the structure of it or something was unacceptable.
I mean,
forget the structure.
Whether it's 10, 20, 30 or 40 million. It was the way that Brentford wanted to pay for the deal, and Leeds probably said no. They probably wanted a down payment. But it doesn't matter to the club. When we say like, oh, you want to get all the money in? No. Once that player is sold and you sell it, that total value of that player goes on your books, right, as pure profit because he's homegrown. Whether you've actually received any money for that player or not, he goes on your books. You're obviously going to receive something, right? But Leeds might have cash flow problems, and they might need some money up front. So if Rodon's gone that way for 10 mil, say, and the deal's 35, no add-ons, then Spurs might have well have gone, bang, here's 20 mil, Leeds.
Right. But if you believe everything that's being said, Brentford offered 20 million as the down payment, and then the rest of it over 5 years. Now, as we well know, our chairman and our Moneybags team are very good in not wanting to put down payments. They've only ever put down payments when they were forced to. So with the Pedro Porro deal, they were forced to, because Sporting said it from day one: money up front. End of. There's no haggling, bartering, and it's money up front. So we spent the whole of January last year arguing the toss with Sporting only on the last day of the window to give them the money up front, which is what they said from the first day onwards, right? So Leeds obviously wanted some money up front. Brentford were only prepared to do 20. So, and that wasn't acceptable. So what would we have done? Because if we've got, and you should know this, if we had 130 million to spend, but they wanted 30 million up front, right? Then that 30 million comes off the 130 million you have to spend. You can't monetize that over 5 years.
Yeah.
That down payment.
Spurs might decide to pay it all. We'll give you the 30 mil plus Rodon for 10. I believe we probably dropped a bit on the Rodon valuation to get the deal up the line, right?
I think we did,
Well, I don't know if we did. I don't know the full facts.
Well, Rodon was 15 million at the minimum. I thought it was 15 million at the minimum to Leeds, but had any Premiership clubs, I reckon we could have got 20 for Rodon. Yeah. But because it's Leeds,
it's a good
the relationship, it's 15, but they've dropped it to 10.
Deal. I mean, the player's value is going to go up. He's going to be a star, in my opinion. Like, he gets a season under us, he'd be worth 40, 50 million anyway, in my opinion. So, like, then you're looking, if he ever did go, it'd be a profit, but I don't want him to go because I think he's that good. Right. Yeah, so it is. I mean, we could do with more transparency in these deals, but we've got an idea how they work, like you say. And with 100 mil left, Jose, again, depending on whether a club like Palace would want a hefty down payment on Izzy.
They do.
That then could restrict us to getting possibly 3 more players in.
Yeah.
4. So then if we got Eze, a striker, right, in now. So we got Eze and David in, right? 25 million and 70 million. That's like 100 million, right?
Right. Yeah. Not even close.
Right. So depending on payment structures as well, I mean, you could say like, okay, that is sort of like our budget gone, right? But it isn't gone, right? Because even though it's gone, we're not talking about player sales. So you got
That's true.
Gill, Spence, Reguilon, Emerson, Lo Celso, Emerson, Lo Celso, Højbjerg. You're talking about 70 million in. So you could still get, if you
a couple more down payments and with that amount of money.
Midfielder in, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of those players, and you'd still have money in to go again in January. Yeah. So we're in a very, very good position. And I'm talking about, if we have to put a big chunk down on Eze, we're still in a very, very good position to get the transfers we want done if Ange wants them. And I think we're going to have an excellent transfer window.
I think it's just the beginning. Yes, absolutely, just the beginning. Once the international tournaments are over, I think we'll really see shit start to fly.
People can judge them, and Scott M being Scott M in here. I understand people judging it. Oh, I'll judge it after the window. I'll judge it up the window. But fine, I get that, and I will as well. But I am excited.
I am too. I've wanted Archie Gray for ages now. I thought he would be the perfect player to slot in. He's technical enough that he can play that inverted wingback or inverted fullback role that we so desperately need a second guy for on the right. Porro can't do it all himself, and we saw how absolutely screwed we were last season.
I agree with Jim here that the owners not and they have no empathy with the fans. Right, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I've explained on other podcasts that I've been on why and my experiences at the stadium with a friend who wasn't very well, blah, 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 and all that. No water stations around the ground. Where's the medics? Where's the seating in the concourses? Bits and pieces. These are like touches that a company should have, big, but they haven't. That is my biggest gripe. That's why I'm in solidarity with the protest movement. I'm not as ardent as what some of the protest fans are, but I'm among a group of fans that are in solidarity with the movement, and we take it as it comes, because we know, and Jim will know after his quote there, that the club are never far away from the next PR blunder. They're never far away from the next PR blunder.
Very good point.
I get all that,
Yeah, for sure. Jim, big up. Thanks for being here, buddy. And then we got Nige in the house. He's saying 40 mil for an 18-year-old backup is pretty scary, but he's a good young player. But he's saying, like Jose, we still need 3 or 4 players to go straight into the first team.
It'd be on the bench. It'd be one of the 9 players on the bench. He'll be getting game time in the 6 pre-season friendlies we've got coming up. He'll be getting game time, as will a couple of the other youngsters. But the likes of Donnelly at 19 will probably get a loan. Don't know if Ange really likes him. He might just, he might make up the numbers. It's a 25-man squad. If he gets named in the squad, then he won't be going out on loan.
For sure.
So
we were talking about Solomon earlier, and I got so behind on the comments. Wayne is saying that he wants to see Solomon have a decent injury-free run this season and see what he adds. Any news on his current injury? I don't have any, Wayne, but I can look.
He's back in training.
In training,
I think. Yeah, I think he's back in training. He had that bad injury. Then I think he had an operation,
a little niggle or something after that
on his knee. He was eager to come back. He was posted himself. As far as I heard last, I think he was back in training or light training or whatever. So
good deal.
On that as well, a little point about the rumours about Richarlison going, right?
Yeah.
Richarlison forsaked his holiday to go back to Opus Way and train, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you? You read between the lines on Richarlison, right? He's going nowhere. He doesn't want to go anywhere, because you don't come back and start pre-season training and forsake your holidays if you've got intentions and you're not happy and you want to leave the club. And I'm sure we all hope that he's got his injury problems and his psychological problems behind him, and he has his best season at the stadium. I do.
Yeah, who wouldn't? I mean, everybody wants the best for the squad.
But for him, it's the same. If he's at the club next season, he done as a good season. Next season, he'll be gone. I think we'll get at least 70 million in for the 7 players we've still got to get rid of. There's a little bit of an issue Ali Gold and Rob Guest were going on about the academy homegrown players. Now, you need 8 homegrown, as we all know, and 17 foreigners you can have in your squad. You have to name them lists twice a year prior to the season and then in January after the January transfer window. Right, so then with the academy trained homegrown, you have to have 4 academy trained homegrown for Europe under their rules. And they're players that have to be with the club in the academy for 3 years before their 21st birthday. Now, everyone was quoting 4, like they were quoting Skip and Parrott, who's 22 now. They were quoting Austin, who's just signed a 5-year contract as a goalkeeper, England under 21, and Whiteman as goalkeeper. But the player they were missing was Noel John. He's been at the club since he's about 10 years of age, and he was 21 in March. So you could, in theory, get rid of Skip or Parrott, but Leeds Farker wanted to take Skip to Leeds apparently with this Rodin deal over, and the Spurs have said no. Now I think Skip wants to go. He wants regular time. Rumour was he was interested in going to Leeds, but the club said no. And the only other issue you've got with the 4 academy homegrown, it's fine having 4 or 5, right, or 5 to pick one, but then you got the issue is, does Ange want them to be those players to be his 4 academy homegrown players? Or what 4 does he want? So that is an issue. I mean, it's no good just throwing players at Ange that he might not want. So that is an issue. But yeah.
I ran off for 2 seconds. Sorry about that. I'm back. I was hoping to get back before Jose had to leave. But okay. So yeah, big agree. Big time agree. Let me see though how far back we are with these comments. So real quick, I wanted to bring up Chris Peters'. Says we haven't even paid for Solomon. Bad business by Levy, really. But wasn't Solomon a free transfer, or am I on crack?
Yeah, he was. I mean, the whole thing about this is a bit messy. And you got Shakhtar Donetsk having a pop at Spurs. One thing I will stick up for Levy on this one, though. Listen, who changed the rules? Who was it who changed the rules that said that Shakhtar Donetsk players could leave because of the war in Ukraine? Understandable. And you could break your contracts and go. Now, it doesn't mean that say that UEFA have got the right to break existing contract law, which is what they've done, right? And they're the ones that have said that he could go. So now when he goes to Fulham, he was on Fulham at loan, or they were going to buy him or whatever, and then he comes to Spurs at the end of his contract, injured or not or whatever, right? Like as he said, right? Yeah. That's not Spurs' fault. If anyone should be paying compensation, it should be UEFA. They rake in enough money, Euro Championships and all that. They should be the ones that are paying Shakhtar Donetsk compensation. They're the ones that said to clubs they can break their contracts. Okay, the club say, we're going to lose out. Are you going to compensate us then? If our players now go, are you going to compensate us? To me, I think Shakhtar Donetsk should be looking to UEFA and saying, look, you've said players could break their contracts. Now, whether that's, I mean, it's not been test cased in the law. There's not been a test case done on this, is there? But I don't see how UEFA can just turn around and say someone can break a legally binding contract. I think they're exceeding their authority if they're doing that. But I mean, that's my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I studied law, but I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I mean, like, but you know, so I have sympathy with Levy on this one. I've not got sympathy with him on a lot of other things, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, what do you think?
There's a first time for everything.
Give Shakhtar Donetsk compensation?
No, I'm to me, it's something that it should have been UEFA or whoever got involved in it, and that the ruling was put through. It was a temporary ruling, and by the time the temporary ruling had run out, players' contracts had run out. The players didn't want to return to the Ukraine, or for that matter, play for Ukrainian clubs, because the Ukrainian league has started again, but not in Ukraine. I believe they're playing in other countries. Their league at the moment, they've been playing in other countries. So the players either didn't want to go back to the Ukrainian clubs because they weren't playing in Ukraine. So with that, then they become free agents. Okay, so the the club, it's difficult for the clubs in Ukraine because they're going to turn around and say, well, because of no fault of our own, we've had to let players go from their contracts on a temporary basis because of something that's not our own fault. And by the time that they've come back, they choose not to come back because their contracts have run out. So something had to be done there, but it's not down to the clubs to dictate this. UEFA should have made a ruling. In my eyes, they should have said something and got
I
involved.
think UEFA are responsible for the whole of this. And the only
But they didn't get involved, did they?
No, they just said like, oh, you can break your contracts and all that. But like, I think they're exceeding their authority to do that. I know a war comes up and there'll be nothing in the rules for war probably in the small print. I doubt there'll be nothing that covers that. So then you have to test it. Then it has to be tested in the court of law. I mean, if Shakhtar were to threaten Spurs with legal action, they would lose.
Definitely
They'd lose.
Right, just right. I'm reading the tweet here, right? So I'll read it to you, right? And it's come from another club, right? It says Archie Gray is a brilliant signing for Spurs. Defensive midfielder stroke centre midfielder who mostly played right back last season. In brackets, very versatile and can adapt to new system and roles quickly. He's played over 4,000 minutes for Leeds last season at 17 and 18 years of age and did not look out of place. Very composed on the ball, defensively reads the game well and physically able to deal with the championship demands. Technically, he's good, can receive the ball at all angles, scan and make a wide range of passes whilst being an efficient carrier. He's physically good, long-legged, frame, making him good in all duels, but also able to play a high intensity and cover ground. His IQ, positional awareness and adaptability and passing vision look strong. Mentally, he's able to play for a league side with high expectations, taking the position of fan favourite captain Aylin and consistently performing. He has the technical, mental and physical attributes to be a top player as well as a man of the match performances at Chelsea last season. He and Bergvall are two very good signings for Ange and Tottenham. And this is coming from another club. Now, clubs will write what they like, whether it's tongue-in-cheek and they're taking the piss, or whether they're actually wholeheartedly saying it as they feel. A lot of that, listen, going back to the question you asked, you're asking me today. And when you're asking me today, I'm underwhelmed. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying that Bergvall's a bad player. It just depends on who else we pad the team up with. And if we're not going to go for any other players, and we're not going to, because by all accounts, reading social media, which is probably the worst thing we can do in the world, Adrian and I will remember the days when we didn't have social media. And when you got a signing like Van der Vaart or Klinsmann and stuff like that, it was an absolute shock. And you were over the moon and you danced the jig for 3 weeks. These players. Now you're being told in social media, he's linked with this, he's linked with that, he's doing this, he's doing that. So, at the end of the day, the social media has said that Tottenham will put Tottenham will make a marquee signing this season.
Well, if you were saying to me, Jose, am I more excited about bringing in Jonathan David or Archie Gray, I'd be more excited about bringing in Archie Gray. But if you ask me, would I be more excited about bringing Eze or Archie Gray, I'd be more excited about bringing in Eze. So, but as you say, it's the beginning of the window. I'm excited because I think this kid has got it, right? And like when I looked at Bergvall, and he's got it in a different ways, whereas Archie Gray's got it all to be a
very different
player and all that. With Bergvall, you look at him, he's like, he's got all that close control and stuff that like Hoddle-esque and even Decky-esque. I know not everyone's a fan of Decky and all that, but his skill set is superb, right? So there's a difference between them sexy players which have got that extra sprinkle of stardust, which a Bergvall looks like he's got, to even an RG Gray, but they're totally different players, totally different types of players, So I agree on numbers. I mean, I wanted 4 in this window. Right, I think we'll get 5. I think we'll put the money down on Eze and get Eze. And if it means getting another midfielder in, a striker in, and that means we put 60 mil down on Eze and we get a striker, Jonathan David, at 25. So now we spent 130 million. But as I said to Colin, when you had to get up and go for a bit, I said, bear in mind, we'll bring in 70 million for Reguilon, Spence,
Emerson.
Yeah, but the thing is, Adrian,
Celso.
what I want, right, and what I've been banging my drum about for a whole year is that we do things properly. We have a plan. We do the scouting. We do the data-driven model. We've got players lined up. We've done the talking to agents. We've done all the shebang that I kept talking about, right? That I'm hoping has been done, and that we're not going in. So now, right, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's all right getting Archie Gray in. It's all right bringing Lucas Bergvall in. The fact that we bought Lucas Bergvall in January, but okay, he starts at the club today, but we knew about him in January, right? To me, I want to be. I know that Graham's put it in the chat a few times, right? Is that you've got the Euros and you've got the Copa America going on, but so to me, I want these competitions to finish, right? So we can go out. If it's players that are playing at these competitions that it's holding us up because we're going for them players, or there's a domino effect somewhere along the line whereby going for some of these players has a knock-on effect from the selling clubs, from them buying their players. I just want it over and done with. I want to see what we're going to be looking like going into next season. And to me, right, bringing in Archie Gray and Bergvall, and then I'm looking at you've got Bissouma there already, you've got Bentancur there already, you've got Sarr there already, you've got Maddison there already. So midfield, okay, we can turn around and say, if anything, you can bring on another midfielder if you wish to, but that depends on how it goes as well. But where we really do need to go out and buy the players is in them forward positions.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me, is that at the moment, we're just looking at the six that I named earlier. Now, you can talk about Jonathan David. So, Gissari, is that his name? Gissari?
Girassi's gone. Yeah. He's gone to Dortmund.
No. The manager from Dortmund has now left. Yeah? And they're now turning around and saying that that manager wanted Gissari.
From Stuttgart.
Yeah, they wanted the manager that reached the Champions League final with Dortmund. He's the one that wanted Gissari. He's gone, right? And now that he's gone, they're putting a hold on that move. So that means that he could be in the market again. Right?
I like him.
Okay, hold on. I know what like is, right? So like is 15 million for Gissari is a like, 25 million for Jonathan David is a like. Why can't we just fucking go out and stump 60 or 70 million pound on a fucking proven player that's going to catapult us? Not take a chance.
Jonathan David doesn't get me excited.
No, I've said it. I've always wanted Vlahovic. Always wanted him from Juve, right? But when I looked at Guerresi at Stuttgart and watched the videos, I thought, okay, you're 28, 29, so I don't. Andrew's got this thing about age. He likes players maximum 25, 26.
Similar, it's kind of Pochettino-esque. He needs him to be able to run and do.
Well, then he knows he's got them for 5 years probably, and they got.
How old Vlahovic ain't that old? But
no, he's not. No, he's about 24.
Yeah, but be honest with you, right? I know that you rave about Vlahovic. So does Ben Kaufman raves about Vlahovic. I watched Vlahovic in the Euros, and I'll tell you what. He didn't look no great shakes.
He had one shot and turn against England, which blasted over the. But with no Pickford had to make a good save for it. Actually, it was out of nothing. That's what I like about the player. He can run at you. He can take you on. He creates shots sharply from nothing.
Was it Fiorentina that he had the great season with? He had a great season with somebody.
And Guerresi.
We were after him.
And Guerresi, I would take Guerresi over.
He's 28, isn't he? Guerresi, basically.
No, but we won't get him. But I would take him over Jonathan David because I think within a couple of seasons, we all would like. Look, we'd like to see Velez play. We'd like to see Parrott given a go. If he's one of the 4 academy home trained, then he's going to be in the squad, right? So these 6 preseason games are going to be very telling, as well as the remainder of the transfer window, obviously. Because we need.
That Chris Lonnie here says that he'd be happy if we just stumped up 150 mil for Isak and Eze, be a good use of the money and get this team up to another level. While I want that more than anything, obviously I don't think it's going to happen. But that
Isak's
would
not
be
going anywhere. Isak, Golden, Gomeres are not
Ooh,
going anywhere.
There's talk about Gordon to Liverpool, and that's intensifying.
Oh, I don't like that, but okay,
That's
it makes sense.
intensifying.
He'd be a good player for Liverpool. He would fit them
They're
like a glove.
still feeling a little bit stunned because Nunes hasn't turned out to be. He's another one who, like, he doesn't bury half his chances. Like, he blasts them when
I
he
like
gets in
Nunes
the
though. He's done it when things
Well,
have really like counted. You know, like whenever
It
there's a
might
lot of
be-
pressure on,
look,
he can come.
It could be just his first season, but when you're paying top dollar, we were in for him as well. We were interested. Let's put it out.
Well, we weren't going to spend that
Glad
money.
didn't
But
get
yeah.
him. Even Lopez there, right? Who they got over us, right? I mean, great little winger, great to watch. What's his strike rate? He's no Salah, is he?
No, he's really not.
There's been
really
my
not.
argument all along that if we're going to bring wide players in, that's why I'd take a punt on Skov Olsen, who played for Denmark the other day. Watched his videos. That kid knows how to find the back of the net. That's what we want. We're never going to win no league if we don't up our scoring rate and stop missing all these big chances.
So what you got to do then, right? What you got to do is you got to look at tradition and history, right? So we had a certain Jimmy Greaves up front.
Mm.
We had, if I'm going to go down that route, we had Archibald, we had Crooks, we had Clive Allen, we had Sheringham, we had Klinsmann. Then you had your Defoes, you had your Keens, you had
Lineker.
you had Lineker there as well. You had
Berbatov,
right? Then you go on and you ended up with Harry Kane. Tottenham have always had goal scorers. Always. We don't have a goal scorer. And I look at it and I think to myself, we sold Harry Kane for 84 million, 90 million, whatever it was. Invest that bloody money in bringing you a striker. Now, you're not going to get Harry Kane again.
Or I argued, see, I'm a selfish fan. I want to see the best players as long as we got them. I didn't want Bale sold. I didn't want Kane sold. Now, I get the argument. Last year of his contract, he leaves on a free. Fine. Everyone was debating that. It was 50-50. Some were saying keep him. Some were saying no, let him go. If we'd have kept Kane, though, how many of those fans that wanted to sell him would now think, hang about, if we'd have kept Kane last season, we would have finished top four. The 100 million we'd have made for the Champions League being in it this year would have covered him going for nothing virtually, right? So, because we only make probably about 15 mil or 20 a max if we win the Europa League anyway. So we would have covered it, and we'd have had a better season with Kane at front with all them chances. My God, we'd have finished third, not fourth. You know?
So looking at Graham's comment, Graham, I'm not disagreeing with you, mate. And I've said already, right, that the worst thing in the world is having social media, and in social media, the word is going around that Tottenham will Tottenham will make a marquee signing this year, and if a marquee signing means that you're going to break the 50 million pounds that you paid for one of the other two numpties that we've got at our club, the one that's just gone, then so be it. But the issue that I got is that in order to buy these players, a lot of these clubs are hard up, right? And a lot of these clubs want some form of money up front. When you're looking at elite level players, some these clubs will want money up front, and it's, do we stump money up front? No, we don't. Generally, we don't. Now, the buying of Archie Gray today, right? Knowing that Leeds needed some of that money up front, right, then means to me that we've eaten into some of the readies that we've got for this transfer window because we've had to pay some money up front today. Now, if we're saying that we're at least 3 good signings short for this window, then it doesn't leave you much maneuverability to put down payments down on players. If we're going for a marquee signing, right? Let's say you're looking at Eze, right? And I'm not going to say he's marquee, but you're looking for.
I was going to ask if you would consider.
If you're looking for Eze, right? They want up to 50 million up front. Now, you can do what Ball Bean Counter does, and you can go and argue the toss with Crystal Palace. But Crystal Palace are in such a fortunate position. They don't have to be forced to sell, and they don't have to bend over backwards to
Well,
what
they've
Ball
already
Bean
gotten rid of
County wants.
Elise. They've got Guehi that people might want to
But they don't have to bend backwards. They're not forced to sell players. So if you're going to go in there and say, yeah, what we'll do is we'll barter them, we'll bring them down to 20 million, it ain't going to work. So you've got to be ready to, if you're going to buy these marquee signings and these elite players, you've got to be able to stump the cash down.
Exactly.
Historically, we've not done that.
This is why I think Spurs aren't in so much a hurry with Eze. We've got the money, but striker to me, you go and get in. And a similar thing where we were pushed a bit to get the Gray deal done. If someone comes in for Eze and Palace are interested, and they start offering 40 million and all this stuff and all that, and then if that release clause is true, and then Spurs go, bang, we're activating the release clause, which means we'll pay the 60 million, we get the player. That's why I don't think. Also, the fact that it's with CAA base agency, with Angie's with the agency, Porro's with the agency. There's a couple more Spurs players. Can't remember the name.
There's a fair few. There's some of our management team are with them as well. We've got about 12 people within the club that are with them in some form, guys or another.
And we nicked half of Aston Villa's management team either, because apart from taking Lange and Millie Jedinek, we also got Frederick Leff. And Frederick Leff is like, when you was asking about what's our plan, he's in charge of strategy, overall strategy, right? So that's player strategy as well. So we nicked him as well. And with the young team, Andy Scolding's position's been changed. He's now head of academy recruitment and pathways. So now we've got someone in there that liaises with Ange and all that about getting these players. 4 of them. See, 4 of them, we're always going to have a pathway, because while we're in Europe, we're always going to have 4 academy trained, homegrown academy trained players. So it's just a question of, if you don't fancy the 4 we got now, Whiteman, Austin, Skip and Parrott, we know eventually they will move on and people will take their place. So there will be a pathway. It's just a question of our fan base, as usual. The same as in other, they're impatient for everything to happen at once.
Do you guys think that there's a chance of us selling off any of our homegrown players for really inflated prices like some other teams are doing? Like if we could get rid of...
No, and do you know why?
You could get 20 odd million for Skip tomorrow.
Right, but do you know why? Do you know why it won't happen? I'll tell you why it won't happen, right? So you are aware. The reason why it won't happen is because of the bald bean counter. Because
I changed his picture in the corner. If you didn't notice, I wanted to.
Because he gets involved and mucks about, and wants the last saying. He's notoriously made himself infamous for all this, and people, people don't want to deal with him. And sometimes this comes back to our detriment, that people don't want to deal with him and that they ain't going to bow down to him. And when he goes into negotiation, don't be silly, mate, and they walk away. And that's happened. There are some occasions it's worked in our favour. More often than not, it's not worked in our favour.
We are led to believe that Scott Munn's the one that deals with this now, that Levy's doing all the industrial stuff, commercial side, the non-footballing side, which he's better at and staying out of it. We're led to believe that Scott Munn's been brought in. Obviously, Levy will go, right, guys, the accounts, the financial report. He'll give them more details than we get, right? He'll say, this is what you've got. Spend it, that's it. You can spend it how you want, but this is what you've got. So now it's down to Scott Munn, with Ange, with Johan Lange, with Frederick Leff, and with Rob McKenzie, the chief scout, to sit down and discuss how they're going to spend their money. I don't believe Archie Gray was a Daniel Levy signing.
I was about to ask you guys.
When they're bad signings, they're Daniel Levy's, and when they're not, they're Paraticis. You know what I mean? So, I get that. I'm not a fan of Levy, but I like to be factual and come at it like that. So, I don't think. If we went Eze and we throw all our eggs in one basket, that wouldn't be Daniel Levy, would it? Because he'd still want to knock 5 or 10 mil off, wouldn't he, if he could? So it wouldn't be that. So
I just want to talk about transfers in 2 weeks' time, when I know 2 competitions are out of the way. On the one hand, yes, I want England to do really, really well, and I want England-Spain final. But on the other hand, I'm thinking to myself,
God help us if we play Spain.
So I'm just thinking, forget the European Championships, just get knocked out in the next round, because the sooner you get knocked out, the sooner deals can start being done with the English players. So there's that side of me. But no, obviously I want England to. I want England to get to. I want an England-Spain final because then that works really well for me. Because then whatever happens, I've won the competition. So.
There you go. Real quick, so do you guys, while we're on the subject, do you think that this this Archie Gray signing was it an Ange thing that he requested? Was it a longer deal? Data driven? I don't know. Who do you think, or all of the above? Like,
no, it's a combination. No, it's not Levy, but it's a combination of Ange with the recruitment team. Definitely.
Right. The funny thing is though, right, and I'm telling you this now, right. The funny thing is that we've probably scouted Archie Gray for a whole year. Right, so when you're saying opportunist signing, it's not an opportunist signing. Leeds need to sell him. Other clubs have gone in for him before we did. So we were either late to the party or we knew that the other clubs going for him weren't going to get him because he wanted to come to us. Right?
It wasn't opportunist. I mean, Werner was opportunist in January. This wasn't opportunist. This signing was happened rapidly because circumstances changed. I don't believe that Archie Gray was top of the order of our wanted list of players. I believe our priorities laid with striker and midfielder above these, and only right back if we knew that Emerson Royal was already sold. But things moved rather quickly, as they can do, and catch you by surprise. And we've gone bang, and we had the advantage because we could offer them Rodent. So this got done, and it also got done by the end of the year. And this is why clubs now you'll see more transfers now, because now after last night's deadline, clubs know where they are with their finances now. So now they can make them from last year, right? They know where they are, and they probably knew before the deadline, most of them. And so now they can move in this year now. So it won't be just because of England are going to finish. There'll be deals done whether England are in the tournament or not. It's just a question if you'd want any. I mean, most of England's players' valuations would have dropped anyway because of the way we've been crap, right? So,
thanks to Harry Kane. Harry Kane got you guys to win the other day.
Yeah, if you believe everything you hear, then it was a Tottenham. The second England goal was Tottenham written all over it. As a with his shot that bounced into the ground that's gone wide. And then it landed on
the long throw, wasn't it? The long throw came into
Tony's head. Then Tony's headed it back in towards the mixer, and Kane put it away. So it had Tottenham written all over it.
Well. 2 goals in about, I don't know,
96 seconds apart.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. So real quick, another thing I wanted to ask you, as I know we don't have you for much longer at all, Jose. So we've heard all these Jacob Ramsey rumors. Do you think that's if break glass in case of emergency, like Eze doesn't come, or do you think there's a world where we ever are after both of those players?
The only way that you're going to go after these 2 players and another striker and a Nico Williams and all these other players that we're being linked with is if you can get deals done where you can put down payments and monetize it over 5 years or so. That's the only way you're going to do it, because otherwise, I think we spent a chunk of money on Archie Gray.
And look at the Ramsey deal, right? I mean, good player. What I've seen of him, I've not seen. I've watched clips of him. I haven't seen a great deal. I mean,
okay, Ramsey
or Archie Gray. Archie Gray for me every day of the week.
Ramsey
on Sundays, right?
Ramsey's a good player. People are now saying Ramsey's not all that. Ramsey and Boubacar Kamara, 2 youngsters that they got at Villa, they were the engine of that midfield.
Look,
along with Douglas Luiz until they got injured.
Yeah,
Villa then had to change the way that they played, and had to change their system because they lost both players to injury.
Links with Aston Villa players should be also taken with a pinch of salt. We've took Frederick left. We've took Joanne Lange. We've took Millie Jedinick from Villa. They'll know what the squad's like there, and they will obviously like some of those players, right? Obviously. So definitely. I get the fact we're interested. I mean, you're going to take Eze over Ramsey, aren't you?
I think so, but I don't know if the drop off is as big as I'm making it.
You're not going to go for both because you don't need them, especially now you've got Gray there. Don't forget we've got Bergwijn. So like. I think Bergwijn. I do think Bergwijn though is going to surprise people with how long he takes to get up to speed. I think that people might be expecting too much. I think we're a lot more likely to see
Archie Gray in the first team and
I
playing
think
well.
Gray will show more consistency than Bergwall is when they first start off, because
Yeah.
Bergwall's that type of skillful player. Either clicks for him or it doesn't, or they get out. He won't get out physical because he's 6'2". He's no slouch. He's not small. He's not small,
true.
Bergwall. Right? He
No.
can look after himself. But Gray's more Premier League set. He's proven it. You don't play 44 games in a. He played 30 at right back, 10 in midfield. I think he played 3 as a number 6, and a couple of times even as a number 10. You know,
Yeah,
and because he's proved his versatility and he wasn't out of place in every position. That's where you start to think this kid is not out of his. Won't be out of his depth in the Premier League. He'll be fine. He'll just be fine. You know, it's a bit like when Dragerson first come in. And people think, oh, he didn't look out of his depth. He didn't. And now he's showing a little bit for Romania as well, isn't he? You know?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's looking
Grace
like a monster.
He won't be out of his depth. He won't.
No, great. I'm going
to shoot off, but I just wanted this comment from Darren Fearon, right? Darren, right? With Nico Williams, right? Bilbao won't mess about. Right, Bilbao don't want him to go, and if he's gonna go, you've got to meet his release clause. Bilbao won't mess about saying, yeah, you can pay me in installments over 10 years. Bilbao will want the majority of whatever his release clause fee up front. I have a feeling Nico Williams is attainable, is gettable, but in order to get Nico Williams, if his release fee clause is 52 million euros,
it's not,
whatever it is, right? Then they're gonna want you to pay the 52 million, right? But what I think is going to happen is that he's played so well for Spain that I think his value to buy him, you might have to go beyond his release clause. So let's say if you offered 60, right, and his release clause for 52, 60 would secure it, right? But they would want Bilbao would want most of the money up front. Nico Williams is attainable, but they want most of the money up front.
It's like the real estate market.
Yeah, I don't know what his release clause was. I mean, because
I think it's 52 million. I think it's 52 million euros.
Yeah, I had
Something
a
like that.
much lower one than that. But this is before he's had a bit of a breakout season, because like the season before last, they weren't raving so much about him.
I'm trying to find any info online too if I can get.
Just around about the 40 mil mark, but I mean I could be totally wrong.
10 days ago, Fabrizio Romano said 58 million euro.
Okay, so I said about 52 million euros.
Then, yeah, which is probably about 50 mil. Anything
right.
from 48, 50 mil, yeah.
So if someone offered him because of his playing, I think he will go, right? But he will go beyond the release clause. I think clubs will bid beyond the release clause, but they would want most of them. They would want the most of the money up front.
What's his strike rate, Colin? Get it up. I'm not interested in no wingers at this club if they haven't got a strike rate. None. I don't care how flat it is. I don't care if it's Ronaldo on one wing and Messi on the other. If they don't score goals, I don't want them. But that's only me, you know. So
yeah, no, I get it. It makes sense, especially
like Jose said. We need goals. We need goals, and our front three's been pants, but so's our midfield, right? So the front three's been pants. Buried off them big chances we'll be in Champions League football this season.
Sorry, I'm going, but I've got there's two people in that put comments in. So you got Darren, Ronnie. Ronnie says, Jose, he wants 300,000 a week at a new club, and Clive Neal says, it's the wage, right?
Yeah,
so what I will turn around and say, and I'm just going to put this out to you guys, and the chat can answer this as well. But I'll just put it out to you guys. Would you pay £300,000 a week to watch Nico Williams superstar at Tottenham?
Look, you look good yesterday, didn't you, in the game? Scores that goal, right? Gives the keep the eye, blast the ball in the net, right? And I've heard a lot about him. I think I watched a video of him, but I've watched so many videos I forget, right? So like, you know what it's like when it's transfer season. This happens to you.
Oh yeah.
What's his strike rate, Colin? Get his strike rate up.
I'm trying to figure out.
It's critical.
Goals and assists from us.
or Jose, get his strike rate up.
I'll probably see if I can beat him.
All I've got to say is, if I was in charge of the club, I would pay £300,000 a week for Nico Williams.
Would you buy Danny Elmo as well?
I would give him that salary, £300,000 a week.
Different type of player, but would you buy Danny Elmo as well? He came on sub yesterday, didn't he?
Danny Olmo's got a release clause fee as well. Danny Olmo, surprisingly enough, has never actually played in Spain. His footballing career, professional career, has been away from Spain. He went at an early age. He went out to I think he might have gone.
He was Leipzig. Where is it? Is he?
No, before Leipzig, he went out to somewhere else. He went to Croatia and played in Croatia or somewhere like that, and then ended up going to Germany and has played with 2 clubs in Germany. So he's never actually played in Spain, Olmo. So the likelihood is Olmo would probably sign for a club outside of Spain if they went in and met his release fee clause. I'm just saying, for me, this is what you need to do. If we're going to entice good or marquee players or great players, world stage players, then you're going to have to pay the bucks for them. And that's
well, Madrid have put all their money in their baskets with Mbappe. Even Barcelona's finances ain't good. Nico Williams would probably end up somewhere like PSG, have got the money to spend. But I don't know how they're affected by the new rules either, because even
no one's affected.
As for his strike rate, it's about 0.2 goals per 90.
Right, guys, I'm out of here. Alan, nice to see you, mate.
Great to see you, Jose.
You haven't had a word yet, so get on and start talking.
Go score a hat trick, Jose, and dedicate it to Archie Gray.
Guys,
give it to Nico Williams, Jose. Give it to Nico Williams, right?
Take care. I'll be watching you guys.
Or do the Hoddle drag back and chip the keeper.
I'll be watching you guys on playback when I get back from football.
Can't wait. Hopefully we entertain
you. You better not slag him off, guys.
Thank you to Scott M. He's just become a YouTube member on my channel.
Big up, Scott. You're the man.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
You are the man.
And yeah, to everyone, keep the faith. I am, but today is the 1st of July. I need to wait a bit longer before I'm fully
gonna jump up and down.
Score in the game. Anyone got the game up? What's the score?
Oh, look at this. David Shearer became a YouTube member as well.
He's become a YouTuber. Thank you very much, Mr. Shearer.
Well done, David Shearer.
Thank you very much.
Boom, boom. Big
up. I know people are becoming members. I'm really sorry. I should have stayed on, but I've got to go and play football.
Yeah, no, go play, buddy.
Scott, I'm not watching football. I'm actually going to play football, mate. You're saying it's 0-0. That's France, Belgium at the moment. The interesting thing is for I don't know whether Daniel Coyes is still in the chat. He was earlier. Openda is starting for Belgium for the first time in the whole of this competition. So they've dropped.
He's a live wire.
They've dropped the other players like Lucabia, who played, and Trossard, and they've actually brought him in for his first match. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But Spain-England final, still there. All right, guys, I'm off.
Hey, thank you for being here, Jose. Good luck.
No worries.
And have a safe
Take
have
care,
a safe
lads.
trip.
See you later.
Take it easy, Jose.
Thank you very much.
Portugal, Turkey later, isn't it? Is it Portugal, Turkey later?
I'll have to check. We'll find out. But there he goes. There he goes, everybody. That was Jose, the man, myth, and the legend. Everybody, if you're watching this on his channel, we're dual streaming. He can get members now. So please make sure if you'd like to, help him out, become a member. The link is in here somewhere. I'll put it up again. And I got my memberships things fixed finally too, and I'm allowed to have members again. So life is good. Life is good.
Right. You ask Alan, mate, what he thinks of the Archie Graves. Well, I'll make a coffee because I'm thirsty.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. Alan, my dude.
Yes.
Spurs make a signing.
Yes, I woke up and saw that they did.
And do you remember that I've been clamoring for this fool for like weeks at least?
Yes, you sent me video to look his highlight reel and everything, and I know you were really interested in Archie Gray, so I'm glad they got it over the line for you.
Yeah, me too. And I know a lot of people are underwhelmed. He's a kid basically, but he's already good enough. He's holding his own in the Premier League, and we've got him for 6 years. Someone put in a comment, if we paid 30 mil for him, we got him for 6 years. That's like $5 million a year for a quality player that can make sure that we don't play Emerson Royale anymore. We can make sure that we don't have to. I don't know. There's definitely good to come out of it. Are you excited by it, or are you kind of underwhelmed? Maybe a little bit, like some people are.
No,
Jose was underwhelmed for sure.
Was he underwhelmed? Well, I mean, how I look at it, he was with Leeds, right? And he was with Leeds, right? That he was on Leeds. Yeah. So he's coming to us, and I think based on what I've seen, he's definitely an upgrade to Joe Rodon. And Joe Rodon went to, we kind of did a separate deal to send him to Leeds. And so I think he's an upgrade. He's younger than Joe Rodon. He's an upgrade. I think it's a good bit of business. I mean, he's young, and if he is good, because there's always some risk, right? There's injury risk. There's the he won't make it in the Premier League risk. There's always risk, but I think it's a good risk we're taking. This is a good risk. And if he works out, we've got for a lot of years. So I'm really excited.
With him and Bergvall both being 18, or I mean, like that's our midfield sorted out for years, as long as they can make the jump. And I know that you and I both weren't like the most excited about Bergvall from the bit that we watched of him.
No,
but yeah. I don't know. I'm excited about this deal, but I'm wondering if it. So I've asked Adrian, and Adrian, you don't think that this deal means that the deal for Eze is off, right? You don't think that we?
No.
You think it's an addition?
No.
What about you, Alan?
I think that the Archie Gray deal is probably, and in tandem, the Joe Rodon deal was something that was packaged and done a while ago. And I think because it's the first with the new fiscal year, I think that this is probably why they're doing it. And the Eze deal, if it is a deal to be had, I got a feeling we've already worked it out. We're just waiting for either the Euros to be done or some specific timing. But I don't think that the Archie Gray deal sullies or somehow sours the Eze deal. I think we can get Eze. I think we could get like what's his name, a Jonathan David or Tony after that, or Dusan Vlahovic, or
you're speaking Adrian's language. Adrian wants Vlahovic bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, we could get. I think we definitely need at least one striker. So I think we could get them as well as. I mean, with the Archie Gray, I think Archie Gray is just something. It's probably part of Ange's overarching plan, and I think these are deals that I've noticed in the last bunch of transfer windows, Spurs like to keep things close to the chest when it comes to transfers. We don't tend to talk much about things, and when it comes to rumors, we don't address them at all. And then boom, 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 stuff just happens. So I think that's what we're going to see in the coming days, hopefully.
Yeah, I was going to say, I sure hope you are correct.
I think we've got more chance of getting Eze than Nico Williams. We won't be getting both.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What position do you think? So
anyway,
I've seen a bit of Eze play, but in my mind, before this window, but I don't watch Palace every week or anything, but I thought he was more of a midfielder. But it seems like everyone is kind of including him as like a more forward player, like in that front three. Adrian, where do you see him playing or getting most of his minutes if he does?
Left midfield, number 10, left wing.
All of them, nice.
Yeah,
sweet.
I mean,
sweet.
He's good. I mean, he shows glimpses. Some think he's a bit of a maverick player. I like that in a player, though. I do like a bit of maverick in a player. He will do the unexpected. When something's not happening, he will try something. He did that in yesterday's England game, actually. He went past someone like they weren't there. He's got that ability to do that. He takes a good dead ball. And not the goal against us. We left such a big hole. Even you would have scored that, Colin.
Hey, yeah. I might have. I got a pretty good right foot on me, but hey. But
so I don't see this going for both. Eze's he's homegrown as well, isn't he?
Absolutely, and we're looking for more of those, of course.
60 mil we could go. If we, the thing with the Eze deal that's with me, it stayed with me all this time. All right, the Elise deal going to Bayern, that sort of made me stop a little bit in my tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with the Elise deal was, prior to that, Joe Henglange was talking to Crystal Palace. We've got a good relationship with Crystal Palace, and to me, you don't talk to the club unless
you've got an agreement with the player.
Yeah.
mean, that
Yeah.
can happen sometimes if you can't contact a player or whatever. That can happen, but I think it's sort of rare. And to me, I think if we're talking to the club, there's an agreement with the player. So now it's just a question of, like Jose said, will Spurs put the money down? Will it come to the release clause? I mean,
So ever since that Luis Suarez release clause thing happened with Arsenal with the 40 million plus one or whatever, I don't know. I don't put enough stock. I don't put much stock into release clauses because it seems like, even though obviously I'm not an Arsenal fan or supporter, it seems like that should have worked. If he had a 40 million release clause, you bid over that, you get the player, but then obviously they didn't get him. And so I don't know if I put much faith in.
I mean, I remember when Liverpool sold Coutinho to Barcelona. I think they insisted on most of the money or all the money up front. There are very few clubs that can pay that sort of money up front anyway. But
Luckily, Tottenham are one of them.
Damn, Scott is burning me. He said next season Eze will play wherever Glasner wants him to. Scott is on one today. Big love, Scott. Big love. And then he says that, watching Elise go to Bayern and then being stuck going to Spurs, that would have to hurt. Can't imagine he would be excited about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's your opinion. But then he might think, hang about, they've signed Archie Gray. They've got Bergwall, So if we get another player in, a midfielder, or that striker in before the window shuts, suddenly you're thinking, like, Spurs are showing ambition. I want to go to Tottenham. So you could that works both ways, half empty or half full, Mr. Scott, right?
And I'm sure he wanted to stay. I'm sure he wanted to stay in England. It seems like it. A lot of players do.
He wants to stay in London.
Well, okay. If you two now, or you in the chat, you in the chat, you're a good footballer, right? And you're at Crystal Palace. Would you rather stay at Palace or go to Spurs?
Go to Spurs.
I saw there was a comment about comparing Rodon to Archie Gray. All I was saying was that I think Archie Gray's a better overall player. I think that he's an upgrade to Rodon in his position. I don't mean to compare them to say, that
they're like interchangeable, perhaps. Yeah.
No. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I know what you meant.
Yeah, sure. It's like saying, in a much more exaggerated way, it's like saying that I think Messi is a much better player than, Christian Romero, or let's say. They're different positions, but you kind of get what I'm saying.
Exactly, 100%.
Their ability.
We've got the better player out of the two.
Yes.
With this deal. Yeah,
he has the higher ceiling, I think Archie Gray does, than Joe Rodon.
But I think that Joe Rodon didn't get a fair shake with us. I think he's going to be great for Leeds, as he already has been. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised to see him come up next season. And,
I think he's a championship player, though. He's kind of like a Skip. I think Skip did very well in the championship, and it's watching you watch Welcome to Wrexham, and you see certain players. They're just like, they're League One or League Two players, and that's really their ceiling. I think players like Skip and Rodon, the championship is probably their ceiling, but that's not a problem. It's just I don't think we need players like that.
I think you get as if you hit his release clause, because then they have to sell. If they say they're not selling, then what would the legal implications be if you offered to match the release clause? Then you've got to sell.
Well, I thought, didn't we already agree personal terms with him? Didn't we already have that discussion?
I think we have. But I mean, that, no one's come out and said that's concrete. But
we've got some good players at Spurs that I feel like other players would like to play with. I mean, James Maddison, that him and Eze play together for England, obviously.
Youngmin Son.
Yeah, Sonny's here. I mean, it's not like, obviously, losing Harry Kane, it was kind of our talisman. I think Harry Kane was a draw for players to come and come to Spurs. But I think Sonny's that same way. I think that you look at the defense that we're building. I think that, I don't know. I just feel like Spurs are putting together, and maybe even kind of quietly, a very strong squad. And I, as a player, if I was young and was growing into the game and as my growing as a person and as a player, I think Spurs would be a great spot. I think we all kind of know, like, let's be real with ourselves right now. is Spurs the club that players want to like end up at and be at for forever? You know, that they dream of coming to, that they will stay at for the rest of their career? Probably not. You know, like let's. But it's definitely Spurs is definitely an upgrade on Palace.
Also, I mean, you get them scoff, those that sneer at Tottenham, like all those that anti-Tottenham in the media and all that. Like they say, oh, players only come for the money and all that. Well, yeah, that does play a big part. But I think when you're shown around that training ground and that stadium, and you're shown a video of your 60,000 fans and them away fans at every game, I mean, if that don't excite you and get your blood tingling, I don't know what won't. And I think that plays a part now. And I think the reason a lot of the media are sneering now, because part of the fact is they know that as Spurs are gradually getting their football act together, as Levy's stepping aside or supposed to be stepping aside, and all the recruitment's changing, I think there's a little bit of fear out there from our rivals, don't you? That
I would.
That we could really become a guaranteed top four and dominant force, because everything's there. We should be a dominant force. We should be winning trophies like Man City are and Chelsea have been. We should, and I think they fear that will happen, right? But we're always going to be able to generate the money under the new rules to be able to do it, whereas other clubs might be a bit hamstrung.
Yep, absolutely. And I see down in here they're saying that Reckon and Gibbs White and Eze were rocking. I heard a rumor that James Madison was spotted training with Morgan Gibbs White.
Yeah.
Interesting. And James Madison wants to be our resident, scout, or guy that's in everybody's ear, getting everybody to come to Spurs. I'm not upset with that.
Yeah, it's you start looking at like what budget we've got. I mean, Forest will dig their heels in now in a new financial year, so they must think they're safe from last year. So when they go to Gibbs White, what are they going to want? I mean, similar to like they're going to want 50 mil probably or more.
And they already kind of fleeced us a bit with Brendan Johnson, so I don't know.
We hope not. We hope Johnson's going to turn out to be a super player. But
yeah, he was never meant to be like the main guy last season. It was just because of injuries. I mean, I think he should have been drip fed kind of into the system and slowly integrated, but instead, we were kind of forced to rely on him more than we meant to. Scott, I respectfully disagree. I don't think our manager is a donkey, and I don't think we have donkeys all over the pitch. But I respect your opinion, my man.
I mean, let's get priority should be our first priority should be at this moment be get a striker in, whether we like him or not. We know the fan base will be out. If it's Jonathan David or Jimenez, so be it. It doesn't seem to be Tony for some reason.
Jonathan David just does not get me excited. I wish he did. I really wish that he did. But
the 2 minutes that Tony was on the game yesterday, he did excellent. He set up Harry Kane for the winning goal.
Yeah.
I mean, he so and I also heard that Southgate plans to probably use him a bit more. That's what I was reading, that Tony was very upset with him because of the way things went after the game, and Southgate apparently agreed that he would change it up because look how they had when it came to their substitutions. Would they have like one substitution midway, and then he substitutes for Tony towards the end? And that Slovakia game, I mean, they were terrible for 90 minutes. Did you guys already talk about that?
No, so we haven't talked really Euros much. I mean, maybe a tiny little bit, but I didn't watch any of the England match. I just know that Kane scored at like the death, like the very, very end to seal the win.
The big goal was the Jude Bellingham goal. That thing was a thing of beauty.
I guess I'll have to go back and watch it. I didn't even see it. All I've heard from when Jude Bellingham's name is mentioned, all I've heard is that he's shit, that he's the one that's holding England back this tournament, that he doesn't need to be playing, that Southgate needs to start him on the bench, that he kills our attack, or I say our, like I'm English, but you know what I mean, that he kills the attack. I don't know. Adrian, what do you feel about that? Do you think that
you're going to get that with England and Southgate? Look, I mean, you get like fans either saying, yeah, we got to these other competitions with Southgate, we got the semi-final and a final against Italy, but like we couldn't get across the line with the substitutions. I get that when we did play well in some of those games, and then when we do play well, oh yeah, it's because the opposition are crap that we're playing. It's a bit similar argument you get with Spurs, right? Really, but he hasn't. The thing is that the contradiction in terms of Southgate is he hasn't picked a negative team for any of these games, even with Trent because of his forward passing, and then you got the four in front of him. It's just that the midfield's pants. It doesn't click. Mainu got him out last time. He's okay. He's definitely one for the future. He's definitely talented. I've seen him at Man United. He does look a very good prospect.
Yeah, he is good.
If our midfield don't click, God help us against Switzerland, because Switzerland are a team. They've been together for years, right? And they play as a team and as a unit. And it's not a question of having, and we're told we've got all these individual stars, but they've got to be able to play as a team. We don't move the ball quick enough in midfield at all. We don't get the ball through quick enough. And I think the fashion of playing the ball out the back, I'm not against it, rather than just hoof it up and 50-50 whether you win the second ball, right? I'm not like, so I understand why you keep possession at all times. But I just think because the Premier League has gotten to this habit, and I don't know about foreign leagues, right, of playing out the back.
Yeah, it's in vogue.
Slow their game down and slow their midfield down, because like everyone plays the same. It's so robotic. Even City try to break teams down. They lost at Sheffield United away lost. I mean, it's the same thing up there, down to the right wing. Oh, we can't get a crossing or it's crowded, so I pass it back into midfield. Goes out to the right wing down the box. Now it comes back to the middle again. Now it goes over to the left again. No one wants to put a cross in the box. No one wants to make a run in the box. And no one in the midfield seems to have the skill enough to pick a player out or get near the player by chipping the ball into the box when a player makes his run. And everyone's missing. The amount of times Sonny makes the run and he throws his arms up, he's wasting his time because no one's giving the ball, because no one's got the vision to see him make the run. They should get knowing on the training field where he is and that he makes runs from those positions. So I'm at the back now. Right. I know Sonny's going to make the run. I'm going to get ready to ping one. But we haven't even got none of that. You know. We
used to have that telepathic Kane-Son connection where they just knew always where the other one would be. I miss that.
England have got a very good record against Switzerland. I think they've beaten them 10 or 12, 13 times out of the last 14 times they've played them. But that don't mean a thing. If Switzerland play like they did against Italy, it was like Man City playing a fourth division side when Switzerland played it. They just played them off the park. They just passed around and moved.
They did.
That's another match I didn't see. But I know that Italy have been absolute trash this tournament, and I don't know why that is. They're usually a strong contender, you know.
There's an inquest I know in Italy that team is going to change, I think, dramatically.
I wonder if I was wondering before, and again, I'm just ignorant to it, so I don't know. But if it's maybe like that core group of players they have are like aging out, so you've got a bunch of like older players and then younger players that aren't quite ready. It's probably something akin to that, but.
It's because they didn't play Vicario in goal.
That's a mistake. Exactly. Oh man, I wonder how the referees would have protected him in this tournament. You know how in the Premier League they were just letting him get shoved all around. I wonder if that would have happened. I wonder if that would have happened in this, in the Euros. Interesting.
Well, I think for the England team with the Euros, am I right that Gareth Southgate has pretty much set up with the same 11 every game? The starting 11, I mean. Where he's not rotating the squad much or anything like that?
Maybe. I hope that Luke Shaw is fit for the Swiss game. Although Trippier he got a bit further forward in that last game. He actually saw a bit more of the ball and all that. But he's right-footed. He's going to want to cut in. And then when you get crowd like Foden and Bellingham, if that's the case, you know.
Yeah, and he's playing Kyle Walker. Where is he playing him? On the left?
On the right.
Yeah,
on the right,
he's been right back. Yeah, he usually would play him in the middle of like a 3, but they've changed the.
I think England have an issue with the fact that Mark Guay, he's probably been our best player, is suspended for the Swiss game. So I think Mike Conser's got to come in. I think that's how you pronounce his name, from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Or now you could play Walker at centre back because he can do that job.
Move Trippier over to the right, Luke Shaw on the left.
Oh, Gomez, you mean, from Liverpool?
He could bring Gomez, but he didn't bring him on the pitch. He brought Conser on, didn't he, for the final selection game? So you think, oh, you fancy him more than you do Gomez, then, do you? Okay.
It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder.
You know, so I'm thinking, well, bring him on in defence if Gueye can't play.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost like Kyle Walker in there instead, to be honest. He's done it for the national team so much. And then you know, have Trips on the right, and then Luke Shaw on the left.
Put Trippier back on the right in his best position, and then you could like put Gomez on the left. Then you could put Gomez on the left. But if Shaw, who's in light training, isn't fit, but then if you're going to bring Shaw on, you see, you could argue the fact sometimes with players that aren't quite fit, I'll bring them on for the last half hour, or because they ain't got fitness to get through 90 minutes. Or you could argue the case, well, why not just start them till they run out of gas and then substitute them? And I'd be
like Harry Kane
level of fitness. That's what I would do. But and I've said it on a couple of podcasts. I would play Bellingham as the ball carrying Gaza number 8 alongside Rice, but then I would then play. See, I wouldn't have put Tony on. See, this is the fun of playing Football Manager. I would have played Kane as the number 10, Foden on the left, Bowen on the right because he gives you more aggression and doesn't fall over like Saka does. Although I think Saka's technically a better player than Bowen, right? And then I'd play Ollie Watkins up front because he can run in between the lines, right? You know, get in behind, right? So I'd have Kane as my 10 and Watkins as my 9 with Foden on the left. I just love Foden. I know people say I just can't see anywhere to put him. If you play him as a 10, I mean, you could play him as a 10, put Bellingham back as the 8. You know, then you've got Kane up front again. It hasn't changed that much. I'd rather, because Kane did drop deep a lot. And again, that Slovakian game, he was on the halfway line. He was trying to spray balls. Well, if you're going to do that, play him there then. Just
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Don't take him out of his natural position and leave a gap in the pitch.
I think that 10 just suits him, and then play Watkins in front of him, or even Tony in front of him. I mean, like
but just let Kane create, let him do a little bit of what he can do and show off that passing range that got him all, you know, the assist, you know, the leading assist that year in the league, and I mean, let's see what he can do. Scott
seems
says,
like.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I was going to say, Scott says that he thinks it's pretty clear that Bellingham and Rice should be the midfield 8s, I guess, and then Foden at the 10.
Yeah, you could do that, Scott. You could do that, and then Kane stays up front. But then Kane hasn't got that pace to run in behind, right? So you've got to play to suit Kane's game. And if Kane ain't getting the ball, you know he's going to drop back at the midfield again, right?
And that's part of the problem, I think, because it looks like Bellingham doesn't it just seems the way Bellingham plays, it seems like the two of them they're not working well together, Kane and Bellingham. I don't see it's just the way I see it. It doesn't seem right. But I also think that
they need to, if you're not going to move the ball quickly, then at least stretch the pitch, because then you can hit
a lot of players like to occupy the same space.
You know, I mean, like City players, right? They seem to do it effortlessly, Man City. You always see them, people say, oh yeah, but they've always seen the player on the ball always seems to have at least 2 options to pass to, and the other players around them always seem to be in space as well, seem to make space for themselves. And England, you watch some of them, they're standing with their backs to an opposing player. I mean, where's the movement? Why aren't you moving?
Yeah.
You should be moving all the time. Free kicks as well. There's one thing that annoys the crap out of me. It's not the ones around a penalty. It's when we just get a free kick. You're standing 5 feet away from me, Colin, and I tap the ball to you. What the fuck is that about? What the hell is that about? Ange would do his nuts. Why isn't there a forward ball? Even if you were fit forward, right? Yeah. I remember years ago, Watford under Graham Taylor used to play percentage football. Every time they got a free kick. You know when Everton equalised against us in the game last season in the league? When we had the game won. And they kept, even though they got a free kick central on a halfway line, like Pickford to come up and off it forward, and eventually got an equaliser, didn't they? You know, Keep pumping balls at the box.
Yeah, create some chaos. Give the keeper a job to do.
You might make
Let him
a
fumble
mistake
one
or
back out, and then you can tap it in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Wasted free kicks. I mean, does my head in.
it does my head in when a player doesn't follow when players don't follow shots in as well. Like if a player has a rip and then everyone kind of just waits to see if it goes in. No, you bust a gut towards the goal and you hope that the goalie spills it and you get to tap it in. I mean, I don't know. That type of stuff's frustrating. And it seems like maybe England are a bit lazy or something. I don't know. Or they think that they're so good they don't have to try very hard. I don't know. It's just there's just
Rice
no
looked a little bit better on the ball yesterday. He looked a little bit, but that's all it's been. Some players have looked a little bit good, but not, but overall the team's been crap.
Yeah,
agreed. We got to be on point now. We're playing Switzerland.
Yeah, it's an important one. And correct me, you guys have to win this to get through the group, right? Or are you guys already through?
It's knockout now.
No, it's knockout. Yeah, in the quarterfinals.
Lovely.
Knockout against Slovakia. I mean, if we hadn't scored, we're out.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's incredible. Well, that's really scary, actually. Well, Alan, you got to run, my man.
Yes, I got to run back to work.
I'm going to put your link in the chat here so everyone can see it. Guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Team Tottenham Go. Here is the linkity link. And yeah, everybody, seriously, go give Alan a sub. And,
thank you so much.
Tune into his content. Yeah, thanks for being here, bro. We appreciate you big time.
My pleasure. Great to see you guys.
You too, buddy. Have a good one, man.
Talk to you later.
See ya. All right, so Adrian, I got to go here in a second as well. Got work coming up. But real quick, one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get your lovely channel up here real quick. 1 second. I've got it in my private chat. So I will throw that comment up here.
Yeah, at least hosting a show with Chang tomorrow, but that's 11:30 in the morning. So you're anything from 5 to 8 hours, 6 or 7 hours behind us, aren't you? All depending whether you're East Coast or West Coast.
Yeah, I'm currently 6 hours, behind you guys. But I might, who knows? Maybe I'll get up and check it out. It sounds fun.
Watch it on playback.
That's the more likely option. But everybody,
I've got to get up for it. I'm so but I've got to get up for it.
Man, my work schedule is so weird. Not going to work until 12:30 in the afternoon, and then working until 9 p.m. And then when I'm done with work, I don't want to go to bed, and so I stay up, and then I wake up early because that's just what I do. And so I don't get a whole lot of sleep, but that's not important. Everybody, Spurs diehards, TTID, that is where you can find, everybody. But that's Adrian, Ellie, Chang.
And Ian Meth.
And then didn't you have the Sheriff on the other day? Is he part of it?
Or four mods. We've got Mark Cousins, Sheriff. He's a mod. We've got Ash, who has an Ash Pedwire. I mean, she's in India.
She hasn't got Ash. Hope she's well. I missed her, man.
She's away. She's a mod. We've got Chris Peters is a mod.
Chris Peters, great dude.
And Soren Krebs is a mod as well.
I love Soren. Soren's really good dude too.
We got room for 10 on the show, because we paid for that pro streamline thing. So, but we're never going to have all 10 of us in the management group on at one time. So we've always got room for 3 or 4 guests. And
you heard the man. If you want to get on, let him know. He'll make it happen. I'm
sure that we stuck quite rigidly to our Tuesdays and Fridays at the moment, whether they're evenings or mornings, because it's during this competition that most people are watching the football. It's because when the season starts, you'll have Monday night football, right? Yeah. Spurs won't be playing on Tuesdays because that's Champions League day, right? And we'll be playing Thursdays and Sundays mainly, right? So that's why we'll have a show on a Friday and a Tuesday. And obviously, when the season starts, there'll obviously be an impromptu show.
Pre-match stuff.
Probably on Saturday or Sunday. So, but at the moment, that's mainly Tuesdays and Fridays.
Awesome.
Either morning UK time or evening UK time. If morning UK time, if Chang's doing his thing, because we want him to hook the Asian area of the planet.
Exactly.
And
and it also gets some sleep, because speaking of sleeping, that guy never sleeps either. But yeah, everybody get over it. Adrian's doing big things. They're doing big things over on their channel. So here is the link again, everybody. Please make sure you check it out if you haven't already, but I bet you already have. And yeah, I just wanted to real quick thank everybody who's been here chatting with us. I'm trying to get back to doing more content regularly. So yeah, just make sure you've hit the notification bell. You'll see whenever I go live next. Do the same thing for Jose's channel. Real quick, let me throw that link in there. I just want to make sure I get everybody covered today. Here is where you can find Jose. You might be watching it right now on his channel. Who knows? Because we're dual streaming. But yes, here's Jose's channel. And if you haven't, please subscribe there as well. He just passed that 500 mark and he's still a climbing. So let's help him out. And then I hate being this guy, but my memberships got turned off because I didn't like fill out a piece of paper for YouTube or something, but I did it today. So if you were a member, but you're not, and you would like to become one again, feel free. It's back. And, but no pressure. We're all family regardless of that, but it's just an option if you want to. Tempest says, big up guys, big up yourself, homie. Thank you for your continued support. And like I said, everybody in the chat, it's been wonderful. And guys, Tottenham have made their first signing. And although it's not the most exciting thing in the entire world to some people, it's exciting to me. I'm very excited. I wanted this player. I know that you did too, Adrian. So I'm really glad that we got it over the line. And big up to Scott M and David Shear for becoming members. I think that's on Jose's one, but big up. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you guys. And yeah, I think with that, it might be time to play us out. And since it's a show on both channels, I will use Jose's outro video just to kind of tie it all up, put a nice little bow on it. So, but everybody, thank you again for everything. And any last words, Adrian?
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Woo. All right. Archie Gray Day, baby. All right. Big love, everyone. Have a great day. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye.